do have Zergling speed for Kittykatgamr, so she can maybe do like a Ling run by, but actually I'm not sure that we're going to get to that point, as there's only one Queen against 3 Zealots with 2 more coming in. A few Zerglings popping out, but it's really just a trickle at this point, and I'm not sure that's going to be enough. And yeah, absolutely decimating the drones now as they do try to run, which is good, but I'm just not sure it's going to be enough. How are you going to clean up 5 Zealots with just a trickle of Zerglings coming out? And he's just clicking the hatchery. He's like, you can run your drones all day long, but I've yet to see a hatchery get up and walk away. And actually now going for the drones as they are continuing to mine, not running this time. And it looks like ChienPwn with the non-proxied 2-gate Zealot is going to manage to pull it out. As there falls the last drone of Kittykatgamr. It's just a handful of Lings left. She does have a sizable bank, but I don't think she's ever going to be able to clear up all these Zealots, and GG is called. No shield batteries, so no overcharge, imba charge, whatever you want to call it. Oh, there we go. A day late and $1 short, I think, though, as the batteries are only now dropping, now that the roaches are wandering into the natural base. They do get canceled almost immediately. 23 roaches being made behind this. Oh my goodness. And the roaches are just chasing the stalkers for the rest of eternity. Actually getting some injects off as well as Kittykatgamr. Very impressive. Dpowers one of the gateways. So there will be no reinforcements here shortly. Those gateways are getting killed. Just sending a handful of roaches to keep the stalkers busy, and the rest of the roaches ripping through ChienPwn's base. And it's not looking good for him here. 82 army supply out of Kittykatgamr, who is just continually producing roaches and sending them across the map. Only 2 stalkers remain, and they're getting rapidly cornered by these roaches. A good effort out of ChienPwn in Game 2, but Kittykatgamr, it looks like, will be able to tie up the series here. Unless this stalker is the greatest stalker to have ever lived, which I kind of doubt. And now the probes are being pulled, but probes against roaches are not a very pretty sight if you are a Protoss player. And even going to depower the very last gateway, so that is all the army that you're going to see out of the Protoss this game. And there you have it. GG is called. Army that's, you know, able to match that of Kittykatgamr's. But as it is, he's not spending it because he doesn't have enough production. There we go, finally adding on more gateways, but it's too little too late. I fear she's going for the natural, which is where his army is. If he could maybe target down like the overseers, that would be huge, but I don't know that he's going to be able to. And oh, she's charging in. Very good out of Kittykatgamr to stutter step forward. Really needs to do that. The overseers are not in range, so those DTs are actually doing some pretty good work. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. The immortals are falling. Oh, and he actually stutter stepped back into the view of the overseers, which means, yep, the DTs are now falling as well. And there you go. I mean, it's the macro. That's really what it comes down to. And, yeah, charging through ChienPwn's base now is Kittykatgamr. He's got 1 Colossus that he's trying to micro, but Colossi are not good enough, especially against this number of roaches. And it looks like Kittykat will be able to push through here. I mean, even just like 2 or 3 shield batteries might have been the difference in that fight, but did not make them, and thus will be falling in this series, it looks like. Yeah, slow warping in Stalkers. Stalkers are not what you need here, unless you could somehow target down the Overseers, but they're being held back pretty far. So, very well played out of both players. Kittykatgamr charging through and absolutely annihilating. Has, I would say, pretty clearly stronger macro than ChienPwn. ChienPwn has some good aggression, but Kittykatgamr has very good macro for her league, and has absolutely killed it in this series whenever she could macro. And we see that here as she pushes through and manages to clean up the main base of ChienPwn. He's desperately trying to do warp ends to defend, but it's not going to be enough. Fighting to his last breath, however. And, I mean, he did manage to win some fights that, going into, I don't think anyone really expected him to win or even survive from. Down massively in army supply, but able to have those positioning wins to allow him to survive nonetheless. But there falls the Colossus. A handful of DTs being warped in, but... Oh, and he almost killed the Overseers, but not quite. So those DTs are not going to be able to accomplish much of anything. And GG is called. Well played, says... You know, drop into the main base and win the game here, but not going to try that just yet. There's really only 2 tanks, only 3 tanks for MightyAnt, 7 for Dpoo, and that's a big disparity at this point in the game. Does scan to see the army and is bringing his tanks up. Oh no! MightyAnt sieges out of position. I think if Dpoo can get pushed up... Oh, I think he's going to siege a little bit too far back, so MightyAnt should be able to reposition. Nope, Dpoo's moving in. He's got that scan up. Oh no, he's going to wade through the tanks, though, with his Marines on the left side, so that's the saving grace for MightyAnt, potentially. Oh, but some good auto turrets, and charging in on top of the tanks is Dpoo, and no, it's just too much. So many tanks, so many Marines charging into the third base, and soon to be the Nat of MightyAnt. Dpoo looking masterful here. And, yeah, playing very well. GG is called. He'd be dead. But it is not Proxy Marauder, so it's going to pay off. Sort of, although... The Reapers do deny the building of the command center. Now we're just going to jump straight up into the main base. Are the Marines... The Marines are still in the bunker. I feel like Dpoo is probably F2ing there, but obviously F2 does not work on units that are in a bunker. And now they're sitting at the bottom of the ramp. Dpoo definitely getting a little flustered here, I'd say. And good micro out of MightyAnt. We did see in the previous game that MightyAnt had... about 150 APM over the about 100 of Dpoo, so that's good for micro, as we can, clearly see here. 5 Reapers, though, against 4 Marines is basically enough to just go. Oh, the Hellion! Okay, he does kill a Reaper and damage others, so I think these Marines could probably win this fight, although with the SCV, that does change things a little bit. Okay, pulls the SCVs, but doesn't pull them in the right direction. Okay, he does get a couple of the Reapers, but I think he might have done it. I think he might have done it. I'm really not sure, though. As, yeah, I think he's good. I think he's good. I don't think one Hellion's going to help here, and neither will one Marine. With this continual flow of Reapers pouring in, absolutely annihilating the SCVs right now, which is a sad sight to see. And, yeah, Hellions are good against Reapers, but, you know, same can be said in reverse. And very well done out of MightyAnt. Dpoo scouted it, but if he just had that bunker on the high ground, I think it's a whole different result. GG! Oh, 2 shutdowns. Oh, Dpoo getting the Yamatos off. Doesn't manage to kill... the battlecruiser. If he's able to kill the battlecruiser without it getting its Yamato off, that's a lot of lost damage for MightyAnt, but he was not able to do that. Still, though, fairly nice. He does have the repairs from the SCVs, which is a big deal in a fight like this. Oh, but the Yamato cannon does take down one of the BCs. Did MightyAnt never get... MightyAnt never got weapon refit, but he does have +1 on his BCs, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. He's got to be real careful. Mule Hammer coming down for Dpoo, which is important here. Able to repair up his BCs now. However, the Vikings, they're good against battlecruisers, and they're putting in work here. Good kiting out of MightyAnt, and I think Dpoo's going to lose another battlecruiser. Okay. It's a tight fight, but I think MightyAnt's coming out ahead here, and he is far up in workers. So once this battlecruiser's cleaned up, the battlecruiser of MightyAnt will be able to rain havoc down upon the siege tanks of Dpoo. The previous attack by Dpoo, MightyAnt's attack has almost no ground units, so tanks aren't really going to help. And BCs are very good against Marines in these numbers that are unupgraded. Oh, a shutdown out of one of the Ravens. Yamato Cannon's now coming out for MightyAnt, and he has a lot more of them available than Dpoo, who used all 4 of his just previously. The Vikings coming in as well, and I think MightyAnt's actually going to be able to pull it out. And I'd say this is definitely a win of planning and of strategy. I mean, if he does win, I guess I can't say anything quite yet, but you know, he planned out his games very well and reacted very well to what he was seeing from Dpoo to you know, pull out the win. And it seems he's going to be able to do that. And GG is called. Unfortunately, Widowmine drop coming out across the map from Sir Maligan. I don't think it's going to get spotted, and that means the mining in the base of Cyan's going to get pretty much completely shut down, as his units are all going to be across the map. However, I think Sir Maligan's life might get shut down because there's an entire army coming into his base. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, after all. And unfortunately, 4 Hellions is not going to do a whole ton, especially when they're going out across the map, it looks like. Yeah, and this is a pretty scary army coming out of Cyan and Ghost Chant, but big hits from the Widow Mines. Oh my goodness, the mass repair. Is that a Marine in the bunker? I think 1 Marine with the most repairs any Marine has ever gotten in their entire life. Oh, does get one of the tanks with the Liberator, which is nice out of Sir Maligan. Does not drop the Widow Mine into the other base, though, but those Widow Mines are going to be able to fire here again shortly. And does get the wall off up against the Adepts. So as long as they can kind of hold, I mean, yep, here goes another round of shots. Unfortunately, only killing 3 probes. Warping in past the wall. That's pretty cute out of Cyan. Cool play. And MightyAnt getting absolutely hammered here. But Maligan still not dropping that Widow Mine. If he drops that Widow Mine and burrows it, it's going to start slowly killing all those SCVs as well, which would be huge. But busy, obviously. I mean, slightly preoccupied with the army on the other side of the map. So somewhat understand Cyan's Adepts. So it might become a 1v1, oddly enough. Not necessarily what we were expecting. The Vikings are good here because without those, obviously, those Liberators would reign supreme. But as it is, MightyAnt is actually going to leave the game. I was thinking something closer to, I don't know, like floating your building over to your ally's base. But I think Sir Maligan is probably actively trying to be like, no, wait. He has no probes. And that is the case. I mean, if he could just get that tank killed and set up the Widow Mines, he may be able to survive here. Sir Maligan, that is. MightyAnt is going to dip out of the game, though, and Sir Maligan's going to GG as well.
Purifiers.
And a very well-played series out of the Purifiers thus far. Aggression in Game 1, macro in Game 2, and it seems to be paying off for them for the moment. MightyAnt's got 2 bases in the air that he can't land to use at the moment, which is an unfortunate spot to be. Another storm blankets the bio of the Terran army. Oh, a big Widow Mine hit, but the bio is rapidly healed by the medevacs. They're pushing up into the natural base, charging through tank fire. Well, meandering through tank fire, I guess we should say. And it does look like they may be able to break the Terrans here. Even if they don't, though, they've each got 70 workers and booming production line behind this. So just a hold here isn't enough. They really got to get something done, does BenZel. And I'm not sure if they have the opportunity to do it, as they are just absolutely parade marching across the map. Cyan has 11 gateways of production. That is a lot of units being warped in every X amount of seconds. To do it, they've got a decent army they're trying to push out, but the tanks are there. Only 1 sieged up, but only about half the army moves forward, so the rest of it gets cleaned up. And a mass amount of charge lot Archon for the Protoss player. Cleans up Maligan's Planetary Fortress as well. Desperately trying to heal. Does not manage to do so. I mean, this is a hard position to break, so the Protoss players might not be able to, or the Protoss and Terran might not be able to do it right away. However, they are still up 4 bases practically, so it doesn't really matter if they can't clean it up right away. And it looks like they may be able to anyways. So, Blink Stalkers blinking in on top of the tanks. Very smart choice to start warping those in to be able to jump right onto the tanks and clean them up. And clean them up they have. Tanks pushing up onto the high ground, wrecking the natural base of BenZel. And a good effort out of our Terran boys with the Terran and Protoss power combined has proven to be too much as they charge into the base of the Terrans. GG, well played is called. And that will be our series. Very, very well played out of Cyan and Ghost Chant. Maligan clinging on, but GG is called. That may be all he needs, especially with the Marauders not showing up until just now. But 7 roaches on the way. Already has a few out. So this should be a hold here for DarkMenace, and almost doubling the worker count of MightyAnt already is a scary sight if you are MightyAnt. The Hellbats falling rather quickly, and without that buffer, the Marauders aren't going to last too long as well. Pulls the shot of the Widowmine with 1 roach as well, and forces MightyAnt back, kills a medevac, and DarkMenace looking very dominant here. And the roaches are coming across the map. I mean, I just don't see how Mizel's going to be able to pull off a defense here, especially if he doesn't... Well, I guess he doesn't need to raise the wall because Mizel's going to... Or Menace is going to kill it anyways. The 3 Marauders are good against roaches, but with those Lings in the front, they tank so many Marauder shots, even just a few Zerglings, and dropping directly on top of the roaches is not going to work out here. It looks like MightyAnt is going to fall in game number 1. DarkMenace looking quite solid here. And that build just not quite working out for MightyAnt. DarkMenace managing to pull him back repeatedly for just long enough for him to get out the roaches that he needed to defend. And then counterattacking. And, I mean, MightyAnt hasn't left yet. He's making double Thor, which is good against roaches. I will admit that. He does have a medevac to micro it with. Good target fire out of DarkMenace, though, and he doesn't pick it up. Oh, no, he accidentally picked up an SCV. GG. And I don't know why my brain ever thought that was how that worked for even a moment, but now I've shared it with all of you, so you can judge me. But, yeah, so he wouldn't be able to do that, I guess. My mistake. Looks like he's just going to land directly on the Queens. Hellbat Viking. I mean, it does all right against Queen Ling, sort of, but the Roach is coming and clean it all up, and that's not looking too pretty now. In the room. Can you really be that shocked? In they charge. I mean, there's 2 Hellions, but that's just not enough. Some Vikings, but Vikings versus Roaches is not a pretty sight. This may come as a shock, but Roaches aren't mechanical. Not even if they're Mecha Roaches, the Mecha Roach skin. So, you live and you learn. GG's called.